Today, we're diving into one of the biggest, most unbelievable scams in recent history. We're talking about a fugitive mastermind known as the Cryptoqueen, her brother's shocking deal with the feds, and a $4 billion lie that destroyed lives all over the world. Just look at that number, $4.4 billion. That's how much money was swindled from investors in a scheme called OneCoin. It's an amount that's almost impossible to wrap your head around. So you have to wonder, right? How does a global empire built on, well, nothing, an empire that pulled in billions, finally come crashing down? Turns out it often starts with just one person deciding to talk. And that first crack in the facade came from the brother of the so-called Cryptoqueen herself. His story is really our way into this whole massive web of deceit. So get this. On March 5th, Konstantin Ignatov walked out of prison a free man. He got a sentence of time served, just 34 months, for his part in this multi-billion-dollar fraud. So why so lenient? Simple. He cut a deal and started singing. In court, he was apparently very emotional, talking about how sorry he was. He cooperated with prosecutors, helped them put other key players behind bars. His words really give you a glimpse of the personal toll, even for the people at the top. And you can see the split right here. Two siblings, two completely different fates. On one side, you have Ruja Ignatova, the mastermind. She vanishes into thin air, ends up on the FBI's most wanted list. On the other, you have her brother Konstantin. He takes over, gets busted, flips, and now he's free. It's pretty wild. So let's back up and see how this whole thing even started. To really get why that deal is so huge, you have to understand the empire they built. What exactly was OneCoin, and how in the world did it fool so many people? Well, the pitch was absolutely genius. OneCoin was marketed as the next big thing. They literally called it the Bitcoin killer. They promised insane returns, guaranteed profits, but it was more than just a sales pitch. It was psychological. They built this global community on social media, tapping right into that fear of missing out, that FOMO, making everyone feel like they had to get in now or be left behind. But here's the crazy part. OneCoin wasn't a cryptocurrency at all. See, a real crypto like Bitcoin runs on a blockchain. That's a public, decentralized ledger that anyone can check. OneCoin had none of that. No blockchain, no real mining, nothing. It was all a sham, just a private database the company controlled, a classic Ponzi scheme just wearing a crypto costume. And this is how they structured the whole lie. You didn't just buy OneCoins. No. First, you bought these so-called educational packages. Then those packages gave you tokens, and then you could use those tokens to mine for coins. Every single step was designed to make it seem complex and legitimate, when in reality it was all nothing, just numbers on a screen. So what's the engine that makes a fraud like this actually run? I mean, to really understand OneCoin, you have to understand the blueprint for one of the oldest scams in the book. Okay, so at its core, a Ponzi scheme is just a cash shuffling game. It's fragile. Money comes in from new investors. Some of that money is used to pay fake profits to the earlier investors, which makes them think it's all real. The rest, it goes straight into the pockets of the people running the show. There's no real investment happening. The money is just being moved around. And these things keep themselves going with what are basically three feedback loops. First, the acquisition loop. That's all the hype and marketing that sucks in new people and their cash. Then you've got the funding loop. This just means more money has to be coming in than going out. But the third one, the opacity loop, that's the real key. That's all the confusing jargon like blockchain mining and tokens that makes people feel like they're too dumb to get it, so they just trust the experts instead of asking the simple question, where is the money actually coming from? And like any machine that needs more and more fuel just to keep running, a Ponzi scheme is always doomed to fail. For OneCoin, the collapse was slow, and then it happened all at once. This is the perfect way to think about it. The entire thing was unstable from day one. The moment that first educational package was sold, the countdown to collapse had already started. All it needed was for one little piece to get knocked over. And right here, you can see those dominoes start to topple. I mean, regulators were putting out warnings as early as 2015, but the big one, the one that really started the landslide, was in 2017 when Ruja Ignatova herself just vanished. After that, the arrests started piling up, which brings us to today. One co-founder is doing 20 years in prison, and the Cryptoqueen is still nowhere to be found. So what's the big takeaway here? I mean, what can we learn from this whole mess? Scams like this are always getting a makeover, right? They come back with new buzzwords and new disguises. The key is to learn how to spot the same old patterns underneath. So how do you protect yourself? Because let's be real, while OneCoin might be done, the next Bitcoin killer is probably already being pitched in some private group chat right now. So what should you be looking for? Okay, this is basically your scam spotting toolkit. And you can see how OneCoin just ticked every single box. Guaranteed high returns? Check. That was the whole Bitcoin killer pitch. A confusing strategy? Double check. They hid behind words like tokens and fake mining. Referral-based payouts? Oh yeah, that was their whole pyramid scheme model, paying you to recruit your friends and family. And that pressure to act fast? That was constant. Get in now before it's too late. Classic scammer move. And while the victims are still dealing with the fallout, the hunt for the woman at the top is heating up. U.S. authorities are now offering a massive reward. We're talking $5 million for any information that leads to her arrest. Think about it. The person at the very center of this $4 billion lie, the woman who orchestrated this whole thing, she's still out there. Ruja Ignatova is still one of the most wanted fugitives on the entire planet. At the end of the day, this whole story is a huge warning sign. In a world full of digital hype, especially in crypto, not everything that shines is a diamond. That line between real innovation and a total illusion can get really blurry. So the next time you hear about an investment that sounds just a little too good to be true, you got to remember the story of OneCoin and ask yourself, is this for real or is it just another house of cards waiting to fall?